Have you ever felt like your life is spinning, but you're not the one turning the wheel? You try harder, you plan more, you push yourself through the noise, and yet, something still feels off. Maybe the job isn't the problem. Maybe the people around you aren't holding you back. Maybe it's the conversation inside your own mind. Sometimes it starts small. You feel a bit overwhelmed, a little behind. So you push harder, plan more, sleep less. You assume it's just a phase, just one more thing to fix. But then the noise doesn't stop. Your body is tired, but your mind keeps spinning. You lie awake at night, replaying conversations, revisiting mistakes, rewriting outcomes. You wake up drained, even when nothing dramatic happened. And slowly, a quiet kind of erosion begins. You start to question yourself. Did I mess up again? Why does everyone else seem fine? Maybe I'm not cut out for this. You become more hesitant, more withdrawn. You stop sharing. You stop reaching out. You keep moving, but you're no longer steering. That's the hidden cost of living outside your own control. Not chaos, but quiet disconnection from yourself. And eventually, something deeper whispers. Maybe the problem isn't what's happening around me. Maybe it's what I'm telling myself about it. That's where we begin, not with the world, but with the one voice that follows us everywhere, our own mind. One comment on my last video said this: I've been trying to fix everything outside me, my job, my relationships, my routine, but nothing changes. And now I'm wondering if I've been looking in the wrong place all along. That comment didn't just hit me. It echoed something I felt, and many of us carry in silence. Your reality is shaped by the quality of your thoughts. That line stopped thousands of people in their tracks. We spend so much of our lives trying to fix what we can see. We change jobs, rearrange schedules, edit routines. We try to improve everything in the external world, hoping that peace will finally follow. But no matter how much we fix out there, something still feels unsettled in here. Because even when the room is quiet, your mind might not be. And that's the part we rarely stop to examine. Not the world itself, but the way we interpret it. The Stoics made a powerful distinction in life. There are only two categories: what is within our control and what is not. Your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, these belong to you. But everything else, your job, your reputation, your health, other people's opinions, those belong to fortune, not to you. When we forget that boundary, we suffer. We try to control things we were never meant to. And we neglect the one thing we were always responsible for, our mind. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our judgment about them. It's not the delay that ruins your day. It's the story you attach to it. It's not the rejection that breaks you. It's the meaning you give it." Your thoughts don't just explain reality, they shape it. And that's where we go next, into the space between the world and the way we see it. Because two people can live the same day and walk away with entirely different lives. Why? Because of the story they told themselves. Let's look at how those stories form, and how they can quietly turn into cages we don't even see. In this video, we're going to look deeper. We're going to talk about why your thoughts matter more than circumstances, and how to slowly reclaim control of your mind, so that your life doesn't feel like it's slipping through your hands. Because Stoicism isn't about ignoring the world. It's about seeing clearly and choosing your response from a place of strength. Let's begin. Most people live their lives trying to control the external world. We try to fix circumstances. We try to fix people. We try to fix the environment around us, our job, our partner, our reputation. And for a while, it feels like progress. But deep down, something remains unsettled. Because no matter how many things you adjust out there, you still have to live with the one thing that follows you everywhere, your own mind. The Stoics taught that there are only two kinds of things in life: what is within our control and what is not. Your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, these are yours. Everything else, money, reputation, health, other people's opinions, is not. Epictetus said, "It's not events that disturb us, but our judgment about them. It's not traffic that ruins your day. It's not your boss's mood. It's your reaction, your story, your internal dialogue." And here's the truth we often avoid. Your thoughts don't just interpret reality, they shape it. Two people can live the same day, face the same problems, and walk away with completely different lives. Why? Because of what they told themselves about what happened. One person sees failure and says, "I'm worthless." Another sees failure and says, "I'm learning." One is broken by it. The other is built by it. Reality isn't just what happens. Reality is what it means to you. And that meaning, it begins in your thoughts. When we don't examine those thoughts, we become prisoners of them. We react without thinking. We live in narratives we never chose. We suffer without knowing why. But when we become aware of our thinking, we begin to see the cracks in the story, and in that space lies freedom. In the next part, we'll talk about how to take back that space, step by step. Before you can change your thoughts, you have to see them. And most of the time, you don't. Our thoughts move fast, so fast, we mistake them for truth. They rise like background noise. They speak in our voice. And because they feel familiar, we rarely question them. You miss a deadline. "I'm such a failure." Someone doesn't text back. "They're ignoring me." You get rejected. "I'll never be good enough." These aren't facts. They're automatic thoughts, habits of the mind, formed by years of belief, emotion, and experience. And like any habit, they can be broken. But first, they must be seen. Most of our thoughts don't shout. They whisper. They arrive fast, blend in with our inner voice, and disguise themselves as facts. We don't question them because they feel familiar. But familiarity isn't truth. These thoughts are old, formed over years by childhood memories, past failures, comments from others, culture, and fear. They weren't chosen. They were absorbed. That's why they slip in unnoticed. You're not good enough. This always happens to you. Why? Even try. They don't scream. They repeat until they become background music to your life. And without realizing it, you start living by them. You hesitate to speak up in meetings. You overthink a simple message. You assume you're being judged, excluded, rejected, even when no one said a word. That's the danger of automatic thoughts. They don't reflect your reality. They create it. And the only way to break their hold is to start noticing them. Because before you can change a thought, you have to see it. Let's talk about how. The Stoics believed in observing the mind like a city guard watches the gate, letting in only what is worthy. So here's a practice. At the end of the day, sit down with pen and paper. Write one moment that triggered an emotion, anger, sadness, insecurity. Ask yourself, what did I tell myself in that moment? You're not looking for what happened. You're looking for the story you told yourself about what happened. Was it fair? Was it true? Was it helpful? If not, it's time to question it. The Stoics didn't just preach awareness. They practiced it deliberately daily. To them, the mind was like a city gate, and thoughts, like travelers trying to get in. A good guard doesn't panic. He doesn't let everything through. He watches, he evaluates, and only then, he chooses. You can do the same. But in today's world, most of us don't stand at the gate. We live inside the noise. We react. We spiral. We absorb. That's why we need to step outside our thoughts, even for just a moment. Not to judge them, but to see them. A simple practice. 1. At the end of the day, sit down with pen and paper to recall one moment that stirred emotion, anger, sadness, insecurity. 3. Ask yourself, what was I feeling? But more importantly, what did I tell myself in that moment? Most people focus only on the event, but the Stoic looks deeper. What story did I attach to it? And then the most honest questions follow. Was it fair? Was it true? Was it helpful? You don't need to rewrite your whole life. You just need to notice the first lie you believe today. That's where real strength begins. Let's look now at what happens when we start questioning that story. Because once a thought is seen clearly, we get to ask something powerful. Does this thought still serve me? Theory is just the beginning. Real change happens in the messiness of real life. So let's look how these ideas, awareness, reframing, habit, come together. I want to tell you a story. It's not about a philosopher. It's about someone like you. A woman left a comment on my channel. She said, I used to feel like life was constantly happening to me. I blamed my job, my childhood, my bad luck. Everything felt out of reach. Then she wrote one sentence that stood out. One night I asked myself, what if the most toxic voice in my life was my own? That question changed her. She started writing down her thoughts. She noticed how many of them began with, I can't, or I'm not enough, And day by day, she started challenging them, not with fake affirmations, but with questions, with curiosity, with compassion. She didn't quit her job. She didn't move cities. She didn't delete her past. But she stopped believing everything she thought. And that one shift gave her the courage to do more than she imagined. This isn't a miracle story. She still struggles. She still has setbacks. But now she knows her power isn't out there. Her power is in how she sees and how she responds. And that's true for all of us. You don't have to wait for your life to get easier. You don't have to wait for people to change. You just have to stop giving all your power away to thoughts that were never truly yours. In the final part of this video, we'll bring everything together. And I'll leave you with one simple question to carry into your week. Because you can't fight what you can't name. And the first step to mental freedom is awareness. In the next step, we'll talk about how to challenge and reshape those thoughts, not with fantasy, but with wisdom. Once you see the thought, you have a choice. You can believe it, or you can challenge it. Reframing is not lying to yourself. It's not toxic positivity. It's the art of seeing the same event through a wiser lens. Reframing isn't denial. It's not saying everything's fine when it's not. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending to be positive. It's about choosing the most constructive lens available to you, even when the facts stay the same. Think of it like standing at a window. If the glass is smudged with fear, ego, or old beliefs, what you see outside becomes distorted. Reframing is cleaning that window. It's asking, is this the only way to interpret what happened? Is there a more helpful way to see it without betraying the truth? The Stoics were masters of this. Marcus Aurelius didn't say my life is easy. He said, life is what my mind makes of it. They lost status, lost children, faced illness, but they still asked, what is this moment here to teach me? Reframing gives you back agency, not control over the world, but over your relationship to the world. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives it meaning. And sometimes, meaning is what saves us. So how do we practice this in real life? Let's walk through 3 simple steps the Stoics used to reframe hardship and find clarity where most people only see chaos. The Stoics practice this constantly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. They lost battles, they lost family, they lost health, but they never surrendered the one thing they could still control, their judgment of the event. Here's how you can reframe. 1. Describe the situation neutrally. Not I was humiliated at work, but my idea wasn't accepted in a meeting. 2. Find what's still in your control. Use your preparation, your attitude, your response tomorrow. 3. Ask the Stoic question. What is this here to teach me? Step 1. Describe the situation neutrally. Most people don't describe what happened. They describe how they felt about what happened. I was humiliated. I was betrayed. I failed. But those are judgments, not facts. The Stoic starts with observation, not interpretation. Instead of I was humiliated in that meeting, say, my idea wasn't accepted. That small shift pulls you out of emotional fog. It anchors you in what is, not what you fear it means. Neutrality is clarity, and clarity gives you space. Step 2. Identify what's still in your control. This is the pivot point. The Stoic question is simple. What part of this can I still influence? Your preparation, your attitude, your future response. Even if everything outside is uncertain, you still own your judgment. You still choose your next move. That realization isn't passive. It's empowering, because once you know what's yours, you stop wasting energy on what isn't. Step 3. Ask the deeper question. Every obstacle comes with a lesson, but only if you're willing to look for it. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The Stoic asks, what is this moment here to teach me? Not as a cliche, but as a lens of resilience. Reframing doesn't erase the challenge, but it gives it purpose. It transforms discomfort into direction. Pain becomes insight. Delay becomes discipline. Failure becomes a forge. And this is where theory ends and habit begins. Let's look next at how to make this mindset stick, not once, but daily. So you don't just think differently, you live differently. Reframing doesn't change the world. It changes your relationship to the world. And sometimes, that's enough. It turns pain into perspective. It turns failure into feedback. It turns chaos into clarity. The world won't always be kind, but With the right lens, you don't have to be its victim. Next, we'll talk about how to reinforce this shift by turning it into a daily habit. Change doesn't happen in a single insight. It happens in repetition. Once you've identified your thoughts, once you've reframed your perspective, you need to anchor that shift with daily habits that train the mind to respond differently. Just like muscles, clarity must be exercised. Clarity is not a what-I'm realization. It's a muscle, and like any muscle, if you don't train it, it weakens. Most people wait for life to calm down, to finally start thinking clearly. But Stoics knew life rarely calms down. So clarity has to be carried with you through the storm. That's why we practice, not to avoid discomfort, but to meet it with strength. Just like muscles, clarity must be exercised. Clarity is not a what-I'm realization. It's a muscle, and like any muscle, if you don't train it, it weakens. Most people wait for life to calm down, to finally start thinking clearly. But the Stoics knew life rarely calms down. So clarity has to be carried with you through the storm. That's why we practice, not to avoid discomfort, but to meet it with strength. Here are 3 daily mental habits the Stoics would approve of. Simple, timeless, and grounding. 1. Morning intention. Arm your mind before the day begins, before emails, before noise, before the rush. Ask yourself, what is likely to test me today? How do I want to respond? Marcus Aurelius did this daily. He reminded himself, you will meet resistance. Insults. Delay. Frustration. Not to dread them, but to prepare. It's not pessimism. It's mental readiness. 2. Midday pause. Create space in the chaos. Even a 30-second break can reset your direction. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow breaths. Repeat silently, I control my thoughts. I choose my response. You're not escaping. You're recentering. Stillness is power. 3. Evening reflection. Review without judgment at the end of the day. Don't just collapse into sleep. Take a quiet moment. Ask, where did I stay calm today? Where did I get pulled off track? What story did I believe? And was it true? This is not about guilt. It's about awareness. And the more you reflect, the more you reclaim your mind. As Seneca wrote, no man becomes wise by chance. Wisdom is built, one honest moment at a time. Seneca said, no man becomes wise by chance. Wisdom is built, one moment, one thought, one habit at a time. You don't need to control the whole day, just the space between stimulus and response. And that space is where your strength lives. So much of our suffering comes from fighting what we cannot control, while ignoring the one thing we can, the quality of our thoughts. Today, we've talked about where that power begins. Not in the world, not in other people, but within you. We looked at the storm of automatic thoughts, and how easily we mistake them for truth. We practice the art of reframing, seeing the same life with a wiser lens. And we learned that daily mental habits aren't just routines, they're reminders of who you wanted to be. The Stoics never promised ease, they promised clarity. And with clarity comes courage. Courage to pause before reacting, to speak to yourself like someone worth listening to live from strength, not fear. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need the approval of the world. You just need one quiet moment to ask, is this thought serving me or stealing my peace? Take that question into your day. Write it down. Carry it in your pocket. Let it guide you, not just when life is calm, but especially when it's not. And if this video helped you, share it with someone else who might be fighting battles in silence. Comment below, what thought have you been believing that no longer serves you? Because sometimes, the first step toward freedom is simply naming what you want to leave behind. In the next video, we'll go deeper into how to actually change your thinking, even when life feels overwhelming. 3 steps to shift your mindset, especially when life is hard. Until then, stay steady, stay awake, and remember, freedom starts inside.